Joining us today, as always, is my counterpart, Veronica Boudreau. Today we'll be diving into the recently released ISI Q Analytics dashboard for WebEx. During today's session, I want to highlight some of the features that we've enhanced in this version of Q dashboards. Now, I know I've been on a roll with office hours demoing dashboard products, but this one is a recent release, and I feel it deserves some time to discuss it. I think there's some features in here that you're really going to like. So, as always, there's going to be time for Q&A following this presentation, where you can ask questions regarding today's topic or our application in general. Let's have some quick webinar housekeeping statements, as I do every week. First up, let's use Q&A as chat is disabled. Veronica will be monitoring that section, and she'll bring up anything in the moment that may need to be asked. Secondly, once the presentation is over, you'll have the ability to unmute yourself, but we ask that you raise your hand so that everybody can be called upon in the order that we receive them. And then lastly, I'll keep the recording going during Q&A, but I'm not going to keep that in the recorded video. It just helps me look at those notes later. And as always, thanks so much for being here, and let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch on over to our dashboard. I've already logged into our demo product, and as you can see here, we're in the ISI Analytics portion of our product. We're not going into Classic today. And what we're going to do is, click the hamburger. I've already expanded out the icons here, and we're going to go to Q dashboards. Now, I know that in a couple sessions past, I did a demo already on Q dashboards. That was on the Microsoft Teams portion of the product. And you think, well, it should be relatively the same between the two products, but we are showing some new features here for the WebEx that we'll be able to see here in the future for Teams as well. So that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up. First, I'm going to go ahead and click on our WebEx Q dashboards. Now, something I want you to note is you're going to see here that there's actually a little WebEx icon here, as well as if I go back to Teams, you can see that there's a Teams icon here. This only shows up for clients that have both. So if you happen to have our Q Analytics product for both your Teams environment and your WebEx environment, you're going to see that icon. This is to help differentiate between which queues you might be looking at within the product if you haven't labeled it as such. Okay. However, if you only have one queue for one product, say like just WebEx or just Microsoft Teams, that icon will not be present because you won't have both. So there's no need to have it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and unexpand that. We have during today's demo, we've got about 4 different queues to choose from, right? And we can cover this in another session, but we can kind of talk about how to maintain your queues. I know I've brought this up in other sessions, but there is the queues and hunt groups portion of the product where you're going to be able to maintain all of your queues. We'll be talking about that in another session. But for now, let's just stick with the let's go back to the queue I was in, which is, sorry, let's go back to our WebEx queue dashboard. We have the ability to create widgets, which I have talked about in previous sessions. All of that pretty much stays the same, but the differences between what I've discussed versus what is going on in the new dashboards is the ability to drill down into information. So for example, this CS demo queue, we have it right now showing dates between July 27th and August the 4th, because that's when I have my demo data. And we have the calls. So within this queue during that time frame, we have 14 total calls, 9 were answered, 5 were missed, and 2 were abandoned. Now you're going to notice that if I hover over specific icons, that it does not turn gray. But if I hover over some of them and a little hand icon shows up, they turn gray. That means that they can be clicked on and drilled into. So what I'm going to do for this CS demo queue is showcase this. So we're going to go ahead and click on the total calls. And you're going to see all those calls, right? So you're going to see the callers and say we're all the calls coming into the queue. Here is the phone number that's calling in, the source action, so they all an inbound call, and what they dialed into, and then what queue they ended up in, the start time, the wait time, talk time, the handling action, so answered versus abandoned, and forwarded, handled by who handled those calls, the final action, whether it's completed by agent, abandoned by caller, forwarded to user, and then depending on those calls, the final destination. Okay. Now, what's new and exciting is going to be the lookup. So there's going to be more information here on the left-hand side for WebEx specifically. So selecting on this icon, you're going to see more information. So call origination, so it's going to give you more information like the caller ID name, the call origination destination. So you're going to see the auto attendant, and then the WebEx location, as well as more of the queue detail information. So source, destination, wait time, right? So it's gonna fill out more of the information you might be looking on in this particular call. And then when it comes to the final destination, also what is going on. The other icons that you're going to get, which are fun, is the presented agents. So it will actually show you if you happen to have this queue happens to be presented to more than just Isaac, you would actually see that information. You would see that it was presented to maybe 5 of your other agents, and you would see that they did not pick up the call, but then you would see on this particular line that Isaac did pick up the call, right? And so presented agents is another feature of just being like, all right, within these calls, who are being presented these calls? And then lastly, transfer path. This is one of the newest features that we have within the WebEx queue detail information, which is going to be transfer path, which I always dub it as cradle to grave. So you want to see, where they came into the queue and perhaps if they actually got transferred to another department or to another agent or to another queue altogether. So you're going to be able to see, if calls are being rerouted more than they should between the different queues. And as we all know, customers I don't like being bounced around to different departments by any means. Like, oh, I called this department, oh, you need to go here. So this is going to be able to kind of monitor how many calls within at least this particular call, how many calls are transferring between your queue. So you would see if this were like an 8-leg transfer, you would actually see 8 different legs shown here of where this call would be going. Okay. So that's all under the call detail button. So you can see all this information and on every call. So you can actually go into everything. So even this, transfer to external party, we can go ahead and look at the more information here. We can see the call information as it loads up. We can see presented agents, again, it's to Isaac, but then transfer path, you can see transferred, and you can see that it was final destination transferred out to this external phone number and how long. Okay. Now let's go back and let's just talk about, and this might be a time to refresh some of the differences, some of the features within the queue dashboard. So let's go ahead and take a moment and expand out, which is going to give us the ability to create a new dashboard. So we're gonna push plus. And when you have a queue dashboard adding in and you have both products, it will ask you which one you want to create it for. So I'm going to select WebEx. Because I'm an admin, I would be able to see all queues. So I can just say I want to see everything, or I can see specific queues within the product. So I can say specifically, I want to see the demo queue. I also want to see the sales demo queue. And those are the only 2 that I'd like to see. So let's go ahead and push next. And we're going to call this.
Yep. Adam, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I ask you a question here?
Absolutely.
So if you're not an administrator, and let's just say I am a customer service manager and I'm responsible for queues that are part of my team, would the administrator be able to grant me access just for my queues?
Yes. So in another session where we talked about administration rights, when you create a user for the product, you define them as either an admin or a user.
Or user. Okay.
Now let's just go in. This is a great question. I know I'm going to deviate a little bit, and that's okay. I love doing that. When you set somebody as an admin, that is blanket everything. They have full access to it all, including adding or creating new users, right? So that might be a little bit overkill for some users. You want to say set some guidelines on what they can see. So then you would actually set them as a user, right? Now you'll notice because we have queues, you're going to see a queue permissions. And when you go here, you're going to say, okay, for this new user that we're going to set up this customer support manager, we want to give them only access to specific queues. You're going to want to give them agent access. And when you give them agent access, you can specify which queues they can even
Queues.
see,
Okay.
right?
That's fantastic.
And
Okay.
you'll see here, you can give them access to both Teams and WebEx, and specifically which queues they should have, right? If you give them manager access, you still specify what queues they can see, but they have a little bit more access to be able to change the parameters of those queues. Like we talked about thresholds in a different session. You can set specific thresholds, or you can set, service level metrics and stuff like that. As a manager, you'd have access to that. So that gives you a little bit more power. And then if you gave full access to the queues, that's basically giving them access to every single queue in the product, and without any limitations. They'd be able to see everything.
Got
Okay.
it. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
No, not a problem. This is a good question. So if I come back and I go to new dashboard, and I am going to set up a WebEx because this is what we're talking about today. I want to specify which queue. So even if you were granted more queues than you need to be monitoring, because like I don't know, somebody just did, doesn't mean you have to monitor them. You can specify whatever you have access to. You can say, I want to just look in this particular dashboard at these two queues. And we're going to call this Adams dashboard. And you can specify how you want it to build that template. You can either do it by our default, which just kind of throws them together in a standard that I think everybody can utilize or start from. You can do blank, which I like to do to demonstrate. And then also there are some other, sample and WebExQ dashboard templates that we already have. So these other templates or these other dashboards that I've created in the past, you could just copy it from those settings. So if you're like, listen, I need to make another dashboard on 2 different queues, but I want it to be replicated from a dashboard I already have, this is where you do it from. Okay. For now, I'm just going to do blank, and we're going to say save. And you're going to see here that it's gone ahead and created your WebEx dashboard. It'll have no queues. It'll also have no settings. So I need to go in here and specify the date range. And I want to just say that was like 7/1 to let's do 8/1. I don't remember the date ranges. Let's take a look at that. That's okay. Oh, 8/1. Or maybe I have to do only let's do 31 days. So I need to do, there we go. And let's save that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the 3 dots, edit this dashboard. And once I start editing them, the plus symbol does show up for adding a widget. Now, just to make sure I have the right dates, I'm going to add a total calls widget here. Okay, so I have 9 answer calls. This works. So I have data. So let's go back. So we're going to save this. We're in this dashboard. You have the ability to set the date ranges for the queues, for the widgets to show what date range you want to see. So going back into that, I set a specific date range. You could do relative, so the last 31 days, or the current queue period, which that represents basically today, and then the hours within today that you're wanting to monitor. This setting, though, the hours that you would see in this is set by a manager of the queue in the product here. So you actually have to specify, hey, when I look at current queue period, I'm really only wanting to see between 8 and 5. And that's what we set that to. So if that's not what you're looking for, if you want to expand those hours, you just get a manager to change those or whatever. So, but for now, I'm going to use my specific date range, which then applies it. This will reload the information if anything's new, though it does refresh itself about every minute, so you don't have to continually push refresh to get new information. It does refresh on its own. And then we're going to go ahead and click on the 3 dots to edit again this dashboard. And this is where it gives us the ability to rename the dashboard. The funnel icon allows me to choose which queues I'm looking at. So if you're like, oh, you know what, I actually wanted to include a different queue, I don't have to recreate the whole thing again. I can just add in the queues that I might want to watch. And then the plus symbol allows us to add our 4 different widget styles into the product. So I can add a donut, Let's go ahead and add in a time series. Let's go ahead and add in an agent so you get all 4 types. The 3 dots will let you edit those widgets to add more metrics. So specifically, it defaults with just answered calls. We can obviously add in more metrics and say, I want to see presented calls. I want to see total calls. I want to see missed calls. And you can keep adding. What you'll notice though is that you're going to see that abandoned or answered and missed and presented all have the ability to be re-added, but total does not. If I added in presented calls, you'll see that it adds percentage of the total rather than a count. And then if I go to add another metric and say I want to do, oh, look, presented is now grayed out, it's because we've added in the 2 available metrics that you can even look at for that, and it's not going to let you do it again because you already have it, right? And you have the ability to do others like the other abandoned, answered, or missed, and it's going to be a percentage of the total. Or you can start adding in some of the time. So if you want to see the queue time, you want to see the talk time, and then if we had service level metrics created for this, you can do that as well. Okay. So we can leave this. I'm going to shuffle some of this around. So presented calls here, and then answered total calls, that could be at the very last, missed calls, queue talk time, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and save this. And you're going to see a little icon here saying, hey, you need to resize it to show everything because we can't do that all in that view. So I can do it out, and then we'll get all 8 of those values are now viewable. I'll move this one over here so that this one shows up as well. And so now you have metrics on these. Now I like to save these every time I do something because if I go in somewhere else and it decides to like kick me out, I don't want to lose anything. So we're just going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to go ahead and go back into edit. And let's take a look at, I like the donut one, so I'll do the donut one next. We're going to look at the 3 dots. We're going to go ahead and edit this widget. And from here, you'll see that we have 5 different kinds of donuts that you can create. So queue source type. So like that, I believe is what's here. Is that new donut? I think that's queue source type. So it's all external party. You can do queue disposition and say, call this queue disposition. Save that, and then that gives you and changes that metric so you can see answered and missed. You're also going to see that, hey, that little hand icon shows up for these. If I click on this, it will drill in and show you the 9 answered, and then it goes in even further and sees completed by agent transferred to party. And then if you can either go back one previous level, or I can exit the preview and just go back to the default. Okay. So you could add, you're always welcome to add more donuts if you're like, oh, okay, I like the disposition, but I also really wanted we're gonna go in and edit a widget and say, I really want to see the final action. So let's go ahead and say queue final action and save. And now you're going to see here that, within the time frame that we're looking at, the queue final action, 8 completed by agents, 3 forwarded to users, 2 abandoned by caller, and then 1 was transferred to an external party. And you have that metric based on, what you've selected. Okay. I need to write a note down. So give me a moment. I want to write something down. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about a time series widget. So we can actually, just to make this easier, I'll move this up to the top. And it's as easy as that, folks. You can just drag and drop. You can expand out based on what you want to see. So like I know with this particular widget, I think that in the settings here, you do set the max metrics per row. I could set this to 3 and then save. And then it adjusts. And then because of that, I can then adjust it down. And, then it gives me the ability to expand maybe these out. If I wanted to see the time series widget a little bit bigger, you could do so. Now, if I go ahead and edit this time series widget, we have a lot of features here. And so I can't go into all of them in this session, but it really breaks it down by how you want to group it. So do you want to group this particular widget by hours, days, or weeks? Let's keep it hours for now. And then the type of widget. Is it a queue call count? So like in this particular time series, you want to see it like for the given time. So this is a month's worth of data. By each given hour, how many call counts happen in each hour. You can see your busiest call time. So this will be kind of giving you an idea of like, hey, I might need to staff a little bit better at the 1 o'clock hour because we get a lot of calls. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's call this monthly. I'm gonna call it monthly because we're doing a monthly view. Monthly queue busy hours. And then we'll leave it source type and then we'll save. Okay. And you can see that for this demo data, at least, it looks like the majority of all the calls all happened at the 1 o'clock hour. Now, I don't know that. Hold on, let me take a look at his other. Let me save this before I forget it. Save. Let's make sure I have the right data. So he had it set to 7:27 through 8:04. So let me change this. 7:27 through 8:04. Save. There we go. Oh, that's still 13 calls all at the 1 o'clock hour. So you can see, oh, maybe I need to staff the 1 o'clock hour. Okay. And you could just, continue to add, or if you wanted to edit this, so we're gonna go ahead and edit this. You're like, all right, well, maybe not the, the source type. Maybe we need to see the handling type or final action. So let's go ahead and look at final action and save. And so you can see here the graph, it's all kind of on the same time frame. So it's by hours. You can see that at 1 o'clock, it's completed by agent, abandoned by colors, forwarded to users, and transferred to external party. Okay. I could probably show you some other data to show you kind of a thing where it kind of bounces on the different hours, but I think you get the point. I think for the test data we had done calls at just the 1 o'clock hour. And then when it comes to our agent widget, let's go ahead and edit this particular one as well. Same thing as the queue widget, you can add metrics in that you want to monitor. So for your different agents, what do you want to see? Do you want to see presented calls? Do you want to see unanswered calls? Do you want to see their talk time? And again, if you add more metrics like answered calls, it gives you a percentage. So you can go ahead and put that next to what you want to see. And then we can go ahead and save this. And here we only have the one agent. So if this is kind of too big, I can always shrink that down a little bit. Even this one, I can kind of shrink it up because I only have one agent. And so you see they're answered, you see the presented calls, the answered calls, answered percentage and unanswered calls, and then their total talk time. And then you can expand these out to make them make sense, or actually shrink them down to make it all fit on one page. There you go. All right, and I think that demonstrates the new, let's go ahead and save this. Now I have a WebEx queue dashboard, and within those calls, as just a thought, if you go into like presented calls, you can see the information, you can see additional details, you can see the presented agents, the transfer path. Those are the two newest features that I think many people will utilize moving forward. Now, something I do want to bring up is that currently this feature does not exist within the Microsoft Teams environment, but that is coming. That feature is going to be presented soon in the near future for even the Microsoft Teams environment to be able to see the additional call information as well as the transfer path.